Yes. Well, we're on live on.
Hey guys, welcome to Knife War's YouTube channel. If you've never heard of Knife War before, we are all about
every time. So Kevin, you wanna check if we are actually on live?
Yeah, we are. We're good. Everything's good.
Awesome. And we are on live on the here. Are we on live on the right?
No, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube.
And Instagram.
So what are we doing today?
Awesome. Today,
so give us a rundown.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the different types of stones. Lots of people have asked us, what's the difference between this and that type of stones, as well as what they do different, and what like little tip to help you choose or decide what stones you should go for and such. So let's just talk about those by using a my knife today here. I've started sharpening it very roughly. I've started it on my green wheel, and I thin it. So from here, it really explains what some of the stones reacts or the act to this particular knife sharpening.
We never introduced ourselves, Naoto.
Hi, welcome to the Instagram Live, Facebook, YouTube Live. Today, well, we do it every week. It's the advanced sharpening class. In this advanced sharpening class, we don't talk about how to set the angle. This is how you sharpen the regular. If you're interested, check us out on the Thursday evenings where our crew in Vancouver does a fantastic class on the Instagram Live from 7 p.m. I believe mountain time. So if you want to check out regular sharpening class, check that one out. This is advanced sharpening class, where we talk about very nerdy stuff about sharpening stones and such. We have a Kevin watching all the questions that's coming up on all the platforms that we're actually doing a live on. So if you have any questions, type that in. He will shout out the question to me and we'll answer for you. Okay? So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Sorry about the little angle, little difference here and there, and the quality of the picture is not as good on this computer, but should be good. I just shut the door, so it's gonna be but as you may know, for those of you who's from Calgary or this region, it's snowing pretty hard. So this is our warehousing space that's pretty cold. It gets cold, so sometimes the heat kicks in and it may get a little bit loud on that, but should be fine. A little bit of announcement, I guess, before we get really get the hands on some of the sharpening stuff. What's happening? Something really cool. We've been trying to do lots of cool and not only cool, but the giving back to community stuff. So next week, I don't have the paper, unfortunately. I forgot to print it off here. But starting off on October 26th, and for 6th and for a week, all the sharpening proceeds, 100% of sharpening proceeds goes to the local food bank. This is to help help mitigate this COVID crisis, like people who's struggling, as well as the people who need to get knife sharpened before the Christmas. So we are donating 100% of the sharpening proceeds. It's next week, right? Starting on Monday, Kevin?
Starts on the
26th.
26th. Yeah, that's the Monday.
So starts on Monday. If you drop off your knives at any of our locations, the money goes to the local food bank. Something that I love the idea that we've been doing. So if you want to get your knife sharpened, go for it. That's a really good cause. Next month, starting on November 16th, which is about 3 weeks away from today, we're gonna kick off the semi-annual garage sale. Garage sale is not just really the sale. It's actually that the unique knives type of stuff, like one of a kind. We haven't gone to Japan, but we have been actually doing lots of the.
Oh, we've done lots of
virtual-
trips to Japan.
Yeah,
We did
virtual.
lots of trips to Japan on Zoom.
Yeah, virtual Japan trips, and we have been actually buying lots of cool stuff from Japan. So that's some unique stuff. I have a few examples here.
Oh, I'm excited, Naoto. I'm excited for these.
So we've got some knives with some fancy
Closer.
and
Oh man, look at that.
like this. These are totally one of a kind. It is not available online yet. We just put the handles on. We need to put them on, take picture, put them on the website. So it's gonna take a little bit of work, but we'll have something like these. We just got the shipment from the Moritaka-san. And it's actually really cool.
That's awesome.
So something like these are going to be on sale, and because for those of you who know about a garage sale, usually we have the lineup in front of the stores. Because of the COVID restrictions, most of our inventory is going to be available online. There are going to be some stuff available at the store levels, but most of the stuff are available online. So we will urge you to go to the online, check out what we have, and purchase it if you like one. If you find the one that you really like, okay. So yeah, these ones are totally one of a kind.
Naoto, I'm so excited. I want that Takeda with the pink handle. Wow.
Pink or maybe blue.
Oh man.
Maybe blue. One of a kind. So we have a section in our garage sale as a fancy handles. So we're creating one right now, but once you go to that website, click on a fancy handle, and you'll see all the selections there. So it makes it easy, for those of you who's looking for fancy, cool handles. Okay, so that's a little bit of announcement. Let's get back to the sharpening. So welcome again for those of you who just joined. My name is Naoto. I'll be doing the advanced sharpening class. Today, I'm going to talk about different type of stones. What they are, sharpening stones are made with basically whole bunch of especially synthetic ones. I'm going to talk about synthetic man-made sharpening stones like these guys. These are made with whole bunch of abrasives like aluminum oxide or chromium oxide, which is like small, those spiky. If you look at a microscope, it's got a really meteor-like looking abrasives. And they mix with some sort of the adhesives to put together into making like this. Most commonly known, these stones are called ceramic stones, right? So because they are made like a ceramic, they mix with the clay type of material and they bake in an oven and they solidify, they shrink a little bit. But there are other types of the other methods of making that knife sharpening stones as well. For example, Naniwa, the super stone series. This is so-called resinoid bond. Resinoid is like a epoxy, right? Like if epoxy solidifies, it's really nice and hard. So they basically mix with the abrasive. And I'm gonna get to what they are, what the specific characteristics of each makes as well. Anyways, I'm gonna show you and help you decide what stones to get as well. Depends on what you like to do, how you like to sharpen your knife as well. For those of you who has any questions on the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, just type that in. We have the Kevin Kent watching all the questions and he's going to shout out the questions to me so I can answer. Okay.
We've got some questions already here.
Awesome.
Well, one guy says, I'm looking forward to getting stoned. I mean, learning about stones, which is nice. And he's asking about finger stones. And I know those aren't synthetic stones generally. But I was wondering if you could talk about more of that, because a lot of people asked us on Tuesday, Chris and I, about finger stones.
Right.
Because a lot of people know that we have that big piece of stone that's going to be finger stones. Yeah. And they know that we haven't done anything about it yet.
sit in there, Instagram people. I'll show you this.
So why don't you give us a little rundown about finger stones and that chunk of stone behind you?
Yeah, the chunk of stone. We do actually have a few more pieces like this. This so-called Uchigumori stones, probably best known as a finishing stone for the sword polishers in Japan. What they usually do is they cut it into the small pieces, or sometimes like pieces. I'm just gonna start from these small pieces like these finger stones, and they basically rub onto the blade to polish them. So these are called the Uchigumori stone. That's finger stones. So the we have been pretty busy, but I probably have figured out how to break it down. These are great because the abrasive is very mild. It's very soft, so that it kind of hides the imperfections. That's really one good thing about this stone.
Naoto.
Yeah.
Do they have to be totally flat, or can they just be chunks? Because I've seen them both ways.
Could be chunks. I mean, you can use your diamond plate or anything to flatten. Easiest. It's not as good, but you could use the sandpaper. Put your sandpaper on the piece of glass and have the flat surface as well. Like you can have the flat surface, coarse sandpaper, water, and just a few strokes, and you make the one surface that's really flat. So you can do that too.
Listen, I've only just tuned into its Instagram. I was late.
Yeah.
There's only one question I see, but I might have missed some.
I think we only have one. This one.
Okay. Yeah. And it's, what is your feelings about diamond steels?
Oh, diamond steels. Oh, that's different question than I have. Diamond steels. I don't use them. Diamond steels for me is just way too aggressive for the knife. Yeah. And if you keep using it, they take away the steel that's the favorable amount and the place, so that the profile of the knife could actually get kind of weird. So
not even could now to it always gets weird.
Yeah. We had a one. I won't say the name of the restaurant, but there was a restaurant in Calgary. They it became a trend probably one point to use the diamond steel in the restaurant and among the kitchen staff, and all the knives coming back from that particular restaurant had the weird wave on the edge. And we finally asked them, how have you guys been, hone your knives? And they said, yeah, we use the diamond because it's so quick, because it basically chips and roughs up the edge. So it's a quick solution in the kitchen that, when the knife is not doing the job that they want, they just rough up the edge and cut into the tomato skins and such. But it's not the ultimate solution, because again, if you keep using it in a way that the chef likes to use, like, right, it hits the belly, this part, so much more than the other parts that makes the edge profile very weird. So we basically told them that don't.
I believe we told them, please don't.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah. But let's.
We got two more questions about finger stones. One is, what would you estimate that grit to be, and how are you going to break the stone down? I want to whack it with a hammer because I've seen that done before. Naoto, he wants to do it with a. That's a wood saw. That's not a tile saw.
It works.
Oh my God, That's your job.
Pencil is great. The estimate grit is it's very difficult. Again, it is about probably 6 to 8, maybe finer. How the natural stone works is quite a bit different from the synthetic stones. As you rub more onto the surface, the particles or the abrasive breaks it down into smaller pieces that becomes finer. Also, those abrasives basically in the natural stones are not even, right? So you will not be expecting the same kind of high gross polish with the any of the natural stones. You get very mild, mirror-ish and very even, but you will never get the like mirror polish from those stones, because the mirror polish basically it's the light reflection, right? It comes in one way and reflects to the other. When the surface is super flat like a mirror, you get one way and the other. But when you have the grits that's slightly different, on the surface level, it's like tiny bit. It's not as smooth. It's this little bit like bumpy. So the light reflects in a lot of different ways. So you won't get the mirror polish with this. So let's.
Are you ready for some more questions?
Yeah.
Because we've kind of got a flood of them here. Oh, and by the way, we've got people watching, it looks like, from Quebec and Ottawa and Regina and Portsmouth, UK.
You can see it? What?
And Edmonton. Well, no, they're just saying hello from this town.
Oh.
Hello from that town. Samuel on Facebook's been very patient, and he says, for microchips on a Yanagiba, would you still use a 1000 grit stone to start? I just tried doing it, and it didn't fully remove the microchips.
What I usually do for the microchips is to remove it first. Then you start to thin it down again. Then if you start to see the microchips, even the Yanagiba, some people don't like to put the so-called micro bevel or the secondary bevel on it. I usually do. It just really because even though the Yanagiba is to just cut the sashimi with and it doesn't touch on the cutting board, I still like to do it on the the little bit of cobalt or the micro bevel on it. One, it makes it a little bit stronger. Two, it's the if you keep sharpening it and start to see the micro chip or flaking off happening, you can put the quick micro bevel back on and keep going from that as well. I don't know if that makes sense for anyone. One thing I basically started sharpening with one of the stones here, this one here, 1000 grit, so-called Kensho Itadaki 1000 grit stone, made with the vitrified, which is like a ceramic stone, super hard, so that it becomes a like a ruler or the measure. It tells you what is wrong with your knife right now, kind of thing. So what this is like my first stone. It's hard, but it doesn't do all the tricks. But I'll just show you. Here's a little bit of difference here. So what I've done on this particular knife here, as you can see, this bevel here has been ground down, right? And as I move around, you can see the light reflects quite a bit differently, right? How I did it was to use for the Instagram people here, the wheel here, and I put it this way. Although I wasn't I was moving my knife all the way, there was no moment that I left my knife on the one spot for the longer period of time, what happens is that this surface here is never like even all the way, right? There's like a little bit high spot, low spots, high spots, like it's like this. So what I'm seeing here, because I made this stone super flat, hard, it tells you where the low spots are. Kind of hard to see. So you can see where it touches and stuff. This is good. Where?
So, Naoto, for those of us that can't see very well on that, what are you looking at? What can you see?
So I think, so I'm just gonna do it from the Facebook and YouTube first. You see here, there is a line or less scratched, deep scratch in the center.
Yeah.
Here, as opposed to here. This looks a little bit even, right? But it's not. So this one tells that the it's all, that's the only spot that's touched. So it's got the reason why I use this stone is because it's very hard. I'll show you a big difference if I actually use this stone. Same 1000 grit, but and also same vitrified, which is the ceramic stone. But ceramics can actually vary in terms of the hardness. Harder the surface of the stone, it because this knife, this bevel is a little bit. I made it more like a convex edge. Harder stone touches on a surface, like one point, where softer stones, I'll show you really momentarily, even if I make the stone really nice and flat, I made it pretty nice and flat. Even if I made it super nice and flat, if I do the same action, it covers a lot more spot or the surface. Because the softer stone works a little bit more like a cushion. It absorbs a little bit of a pushing action. Then it touches the more of the like a carve instead of flat surface. So this stone is great to, I don't know if you can see them here. It actually has a lot more longer, especially right here. It touches a lot more surface than the just one spot. So that's huge difference between the soft and hard stone. Hard stones are great to know what your condition of your knife is, and also put in the micro bevel. Hard stones great. Softer stones are things like it's like whatchamacallit, the makeup stone, like makes the look really nice kind of stone. So this is how I start. Like soft stone, you can see it's kind of touches all the way. Another thing that I can show you is another one I was going to show you is different type of the softer stone. 220 grit. It's very thin. I've been using it for quite a while. I have two different 220 grit stones. I'll show you the how they differ. Personally, I like this knife wire 220 stone over depends, but the over this Shapton Glass series. Shapton Glass series, it still needs about same chewing, the flattening, but the Shapton is a lot thinner to start. So I'm about to actually use pretty much all up.
Naoto, I've got actually a question that fits nicely into this. It's Oops, I've lost it. Do you have a favorite synthetic stone that is less likely to leave small scratches when sharpening? So I think you can touch on that while you're talking about that, I imagine.
Yeah, the coarser the stone is, you would definitely see that the small scratches. The you want to get to something a little bit softer. I actually found the hard vitrified stones will leave little small scratches on the blade. Softer stones like resinoid stones, for example, Kensho K series, or the Arashiyama 6000 or Kitayama 8000. They don't leave as deep scratches as the regular stones do, other stones do. So those ones are fantastic. The I'll show you the difference here. But again, harder stones are great to just get the last bit of edge on, or to make sure your knife, the edge is super flat or super straight, right?
And Steve is wondering what grit and type of stone is best to remove lighter surface scratches. But I think you've just answered that.
The yeah. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more careful between the taking the small scratches off and hiding it. What you want to do is to, for example, when I first started doing this particular knife, I've used very coarse stone on the one side so that the scratches are quite deep, right? So I am in the way of actually removing or going deeper than a scratch that I made. That makes sense. Because the scratches are like this, like the peaks and valleys. In order to get that scratch out, you have to get deeper than the scratch you made, right? So what I'm using right now is the Knifer 220. I'm just gonna work on the tip part because there's always a little bit of limited time of me doing this, right? But here, alrighty. So make sure when you're using the sharpening your knife, check how like as frequently as you can. At the tip part, there's no deeper scratches left here. At the tip here, again, there's no much deep scratches here. I'm just gonna get off here. There's still some scratches at the heel part. What I'm gonna show you here, because today I'm talking about different stones, I'm gonna use the Shapton Glass 220 and work that the same on the other side. Shapton Glass is made with the what you call that, the method so-called the magnesium bond. Magnesium bond stones are fantastic, especially for finer grit stones because it gets really nice and smooth and relatively hard as well. But the when it comes to, and really the biggest benefit is that you don't have to soak this in the water. Some stones, do you vitrify the ceramic stones, you do have to soak in the water for a little while to get the. So here, you can.
Well, Naoto, can we ask a question about soaking stones?
Yeah.
Because you say some stones need to be soaked for a while, some stones need to be soaked longer.
Yeah.
Can you explain that maybe?
Yeah.
Can you soak a stone too long? What if you leave your stone in your car in Calgary in December after you used it? What if you leave it in your car overnight?
Basically, think about this way: the ceramics, because they are baked in a super hot oven, it's pretty porous. Well, the air gets out, right? So it needs lots of water to be absorbed in. But if you so those ones are pretty stable, chemically stable as well, because you can leave your plates in the dishwasher or in a sink for a very long time, right, without worrying about it. Where something like this magnesia bone ones, you do not ever want to leave this in the water because it's like a cement. The chemical that puts these abrasive together, they don't like to be in the water, and if you leave them in water, it softens and it can actually get a crack on it. So don't leave these in the water for so long. I do have set of stones here, set the diamond, that can live in the water like this. And all other ones are sitting on the shelf. So like this, okay? Alrighty. So already here, it's actually pretty interesting. So remember the one side that I finished with the knife for 220, knife for 220 at the tip part. On the other side, I did it with the Shapton 220. Shapton 220. Knife for 220. Shapton 220 at the tip. Knife for 220. Shapton 220. So Shapton, because it's a bit harder stone, it polishes up a little bit higher grit. It looks a little bit more higher, but it doesn't have the matte finish like knife for 220 does. And knife for 220, to me, it's a little bit more even. Like it's a little bit rougher, to be quite honest. It's a little bit rougher, and it does look like it's a little bit more deeper scratches, but it does the fantastic job removing the deep scratches that you made with the wheel like these ones. Okay, so that's really a big difference. If you were to just casually use them, go either. That's the only disadvantage of the knife for 220 stone is a little bit softer than the Shapton 220, so it requires a little bit more frequent truing. Okay, okay, get that? Awesome. All right, let's talk about...
Naoto, do you have a second? Because I've got a stack of questions here piling up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Francisco says hello from Spain, by the way.
Oh.
There you go. We're in Spain, in the UK, and Canada, and the States currently that I know about.
Awesome.
We've got questions. We got actually a lot of questions about natural stones, and I know you weren't going to talk about natural stones today. But our man in Hawaii, at Razor Sharp Hawaii, he is saying, I'm looking to buy a bench natural stone. What would Naoto recommend that is soft and fine that will leave a nice Kasumi, but will also sharpen?
The Maruyama, if you want to give the really nice Kasumi finish, I'd recommend I'd recommend the mountains like a Haka, Hakka, which we're going to get the small batch from the batch pretty soon. Also, this it's a medium grit, so you could do a little bit finer job, but you could use this called Naoto. Blue, it's called blue stone. The Naoto is from the Tamba in the Tamba Sasayama in the Hyogo prefecture. This one is actually pretty good, medium grit, like 2,000 to 4,000 grit. It also leaves a pretty nice Kasumi on them. It doesn't really give as much of the glare, the fine polish, but it's fantastic stone. Naoto, we're also going to get a few Naotos pretty shortly as well. And also, we don't have much in stock, but the Maruyama, Shiki Uchigumori, or the Suitas are great. Suita is the layers of... Suita basically refers to layer of the... the layer of the mound, and the Su means if you look at the this here, you can see some lines on the in the layer here, and basically when this orange layer comes to the surface like this wouldn't do much for the sharpening. So oftentimes and what I was told was that you actually have to sharpen off, like you basically flattening this part out to get the proper finish. So yeah, but if you want to get the really nice decent finish on the Kasumi finish on knives, you want to get some like the Maroyama Shirosuita, Haka, the Suita, or the Shobu Dani stones are pretty nice and soft, so that it actually leaves pretty nice finish on them. I can definitely show you a few tricks here. Okay. So I'm just gonna.
Oh, sorry. I had one more natural stone question. Well, two more really.
Yeah.
Can you recommend a good progression for sharpening knives from start to finish with natural stones, or is that a good idea? And also, are we getting any for garage sale?
The garage sale, unfortunately, just the Uchigumori stones or powders. I know we're going to get some stones, natural stones, soon, but may not make it to the garage sale time frame. But
right,
we will have them. So yeah, for those of you who's interested in making the Kasumi finish, and for those of you who don't really know what the Kasumi finish is, Kasumi means a mist or fog, or the the mist, misty, mist. It's a little bit more cloudier type of finish. So what the Japanese knives are made out of is made with the soft steel and the hard steel. And the contrast between the color contrast, or the polish contrast between hard steel and soft steel, makes it so-called Kasumi. What that means is that the softer steel remains a little bit more misty or foggy, where the hard steel, the core steel, will start to shine up quite nice. So that's what the Kasumi finish is. So I'm just gonna start from this 1000 knife for 1000 to start the Kasumi process. I like this stone to kind of make a base, because it takes lots of good scratches off and kind of blends them very well. So I'm going to use this so-called Naoto, a blue stone or Naoto.
Now, so I have somebody asking, how much water do you use of the natural stone?
How much? It's just a tiny bit. Enough to get it. It's lubricates the enough to lubricate the stone, and also more you work, it will make the again, as I said a little bit earlier, this mud or the slurry, as you work more on them, it will break it down into smaller pieces, so that it polishes up a little bit more nicer. So here, yeah. So Naoto does this type of finish. I could probably do a bit more again, but time. Alrighty, so here, just go from the camera. I just worked on the tip part. Oh yeah, you see a little bit better. You see the slight little bit of contrast. A little bit of contrast. But the scratches are slightly a little bit deeper. Yeah, 1 second. Oh, like this. this is good kind of base to start. Oh, just the tip and the lighting on. It's not.
No, that's starting to look really good now, Naoto. So you're just going to keep working it all the way down the blade for that.
Yeah, like if
right. But you've grabbed the Kensho stone now. What's going on?
This is the sorry. This is the Shiro Suita from Maroyama.
Oh, I don't know that stone.
This one it's from Kyoto. I went to visit this a guy who actually owns the mountain and mines himself, and kept asking to send us some stones. I haven't heard back much, but this is was some says this is such an easy cheat stone that the to make this so-called Kasumi finish, because it's not super nice and soft, and it's a very again the just the tip. Again, oh, that's nice. Kind of hard to see again. Natural stone does not give that weird glare.
Mm.
What I mean glare, I will show you what I mean. If you ever want to make the edge really polished, almost like a mirror, use synthetic. That is this one I'm using, the Arashiyama 6000. I should probably gone down 3000, but
why? Tell me, why do you think that?
The scratch was actually a little bit deeper than I I anticipated, but it actually does remove quite good. So I'll show you how they look like after this, because I'm gonna get the paper towel. So here, and here too, you can actually see it's much more shinier, right? This is very synthetic type of finish on the tip here. You see, it's like almost mirror. You see here? It's quite a bit different. So the some people do this softer steel part finish on the natural stones to get the little cloudy finish. Then, like I did, just touch on the edge with the synthetic to polish it up. It's pretty up to you. I personally like my Hagane or the carbon steel polish quite nice with the pretty fine stones. One, because more polish you get, less likely to rust. It's true. It does not trap the normal moisture, right? So it's true that the more you shinier you finish your knife with, it will less likely to rust. So I this one, white carbon number 1, Fujiwara Nashiji. I like to polish up the edge really nice so that I don't have to worry too much about rust. But so that's the big difference, I guess, between the synthetic and natural stones. And natural stones, abrasive on the natural stones are very interesting. When I had the little talk with the Imanishi-san from Kyoto, he was saying, he actually gave me a book and said, the book said, abrasives for the natural stones are actually fossilized microorganisms that were living in the ocean back in millions of years ago. So those are like a bug type of situation, right? Very small microorganisms that was fossilized, and so if you look at those microorganisms, big difference between those microorganisms and the synthetic abrasives is that those microorganisms, they are more round, they're more like mild, where the synthetic synthetic abrasives are more like a meteor, like it's very rough. Even if it gets very, very small, it still has the edges, right? So the edge that you will create, or the finishing edge that you create with micro or the natural stones, are more mild. That's great for finishing the straight razors, because as fine as you get, this edge is much better than this edge when it comes to like try to shave off your beard, right? It doesn't scratch off your face, as well as the plane blades, and that's such that actually requires to push into the object to cut rather than the slide to cut stuff.
You know what? I never thought of that. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Listen, do you have time? We've got some questions here.
Yes.
We've got some speed round questions. Yeah. When is garage sale?
November 16th. That the first day we're gonna run for a week. Starts on Monday and ends on Sunday.
And is there anything special going on with garage sale because we can't come to the store right now?
Yes. So we are doing the Kevin. I believe you are going to be doing the 5-hour live. Yes. So there's going to be a Instagram, Facebook, YouTube live event, basically showing off what we have. Something like one-off knives like these, and we talk about what they are, what's good about them, and if you have any questions of what some asking for recommendations, we could definitely do that for you guys, right?
Yeah, and the great thing is too, because you can't come and see these knives firsthand, I can show you very up close view of the knives like this, right? And let you see every angle
and we also
of the knives, right?
In front, and we can just weigh it right there.
Yeah, we'll have a scale, we'll have a tape measure, so I can give you exact measurements of these knives that you need. So that's a great thing. So I think Mike and I are going to go. Naoto said 5. I think we're going to try to go 8 hours of live videos of just like answering questions and anything you want. I'm sure we'll go and check into other shops. We'll go see Chris Lord in Ottawa, and Owen in Owen and Francis in Vancouver, and Chris and Adam up in Edmonton, and Kasumi at the Calgary shop. So we're going to run that from the warehouse and the head office there. So that should be super fun. More questions?
Yes.
When is Masukagi Koishi going to be back in stock?
they come and goes. We have all the standing orders. We're basically waiting for them to arrive. We have this much in order, and so far this much have been coming in. So every time that knife comes in, it just
if you really want a knife that's out of stock on our website right now all the time, things like Koishis, things like Kagura-san knives, things like Tank, get on the list, because you go to the product page of the knife you want. There'll be a button there that says notify me when it's in stock. And what happens is our computer system takes the first 20 people, sends them an email and says it's back in stock. And after 20 minutes, if they still have stock, there's still stock left, it goes to the next 20 people. And then after 20 minutes, it goes to the next 20 people. So it does that. So here's the thing, get on that list, and as soon as you get that email, just press the buy button, or else you just won't get it. That's a top tip. Don Penny is saying he still may buy a Hanazuki at the end of the year, and I know he was in the Ottawa shop today and got himself a Yuki Tsujiki. So that's exciting. Somebody's asked, how do you keep a consistent angle when you're sharpening without practice?
With what?
And I know, without practice. Yeah, we've got that thing.
Yes.
Do you have the thing there?
Yeah. The little green thing.
Yeah.
So this
show them that.
Yeah, this is great tip. If you ever want to learn how to sharpen, there are a lot of jigs around, but grab one of those things from your office, which may be a little bit hard right now to get into the office, but it's a rubber thimble. What we do, just gonna move the camera down. Also, this guy here. What we do is actually put my index finger right here, and I have the space right here. Go back and forth. You see the angle doesn't change. If you're interested, actually though, go on our YouTube site and YouTube page, and we do actually have a full rundown on this type of sharpening, which is, it's about 20-minute video. I talk about how you set up your angle, how to actually get the right angle for the right knives, and use one of those to do the sharpening. So that's actually pretty, I think, pretty useful. We've been putting up a lot of, not only just the live videos, we have a lot of recorded videos as well. So if you're interested, take time to watch it and do it along. And if you have any questions, just come back and ask us. That's probably good because we do run the classes every week, right? Because
every Thursday right here.
Yeah, every Thursday.
Owen and Francis.
Every Thursday right here, yeah. The Francis and Owen from the Vancouver store is doing the class because pandemic and having the 4 people in a small room is not a great idea. So we decided to do it like this way. So yeah, like if you are interested learning more about those stuff, I would go to YouTube.
All right, we've got some people asking what that knife is that you're sharpening right now.
Fujiwara Teriyasu Nashiji Santoku. The white carbon number 1, a B on it in the inside, and the stainless cladding on the outside. This is my personal knife. This has been on the sharpening videos quite a few times. I think this is the exact knife I was sharpening on the how to thin the video or the some of the YouTube videos as well. This is, for me, it's the experimental knife. The way I sharpen, finishes. I quite recently sharpened this one, but the micro bevel wasn't. I'm doing the experiments actually. I did put the micro bevel. I did sharpen about less than a month ago. Then I was like, it's not. So I did a way that it's slightly different and it's not great. So I brought it back and do it again. You have to try something all the time, different.
Oh, you've got to practice all the time. Absolutely. We've got some other questions. Starting with a dull knife, I'm using a 220, 1000, 6000. Do you go through the same process on each stone to create a burr as you do on the 220 and then move on?
Pretty much. The 220 definitely, 1000 definitely. 6000 you may not feel as big of the burr, but you or still be able to feel it. Visual or the looking with your own eyes, looking for the signs or the looking. Basically, the visual image is really important when it comes to, because like if you see this edge here, the right here, this is like polished up very, very nicely, right? And as you move up from 1000 to 6000, you will be able to see the edge start to shine up. You do like reflect the light, see how your edge is actually shining. And that's one of the signs, like one of the first sign that you see if it's been polished very nicely. And then I do feel the burr like this way. It's a massage sun trick. I put my thumb on the edge and try to move the, I guess, on the sideways. Don't move it along the edge, but sideways, and do it from the same, different finger, but same thing. So when there's a burr, right now this has the actually quite big burr on this side, like this side here. I can't feel it, but this way you can actually feel much better because edges like this, as I do this, it grabs my finger, belly of my finger a lot.
Interesting. I never do that. I actually, when we get up into the higher stones, like 4,000, 6, 8, 10, I can feel it getting smoother, and I can hear it change. It changes a pitch.
It
The sound
changes the pitch and changes the sound. It certainly becomes smoother. This is a little bit more like the last, making sure it has a burr.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, Masashi-san does that all the time, right?
You know what? Listen, you can't argue with Masashi-san. His knives are so sharp.
Yeah.
That guy's crazy.
Yeah. So that's the that's that. Oh, the I have been refurbishing some of the knives for garage sale too. So there will be some,
Oh, good.
retired demo knives that I have been kind of spending some time here and restoring. So they are going to be available online as well. So just so you know.
Also, how often do you flatten a stone, and how can you tell if it needs flattening, other than when it's obviously very dished?
The depends on how much accuracy you want and you need.
Okay, so which times would you want more accuracy, and which times is less accuracy acceptable?
The biggest, well, when you're sharpening I'm still working on the knife that I started it last week. It's still sitting here.
Is that Gabe's?
Yeah. Sorry, Gabe, if you're watching. I haven't finished it yet. So when you have the knife, especially the single bevel knives, like Usuba, this Japanese traditional veggie knife, Yanagiba, long and skinny sashimi slicing, or Deba, or even the plain blaze chisels, those single bevel Japanese knives requires the backside being perfectly flat. In order for me to check the flatness on the back, I would always flatten. Sorry, this one is actually pretty good. I would always flatten my stone every time even if I only do a few strokes. You see this little black part on this stone here? This is basically, it's not the flat. So I do it until this is gone, so it's nice and flat. Oh. Let's see, really nice. There's
Nice.
spot here. Then this here, when I check like this, and I can see where it touches. Where it touches. Even like this, when I try to check another knife for the straightness, I flatten. So this requires, and you see, only a few strokes, it still has like few spots that actually didn't get to flattening. So stones lose the flatness quite fast. And if this is one of the harder stones. If it's softer stone, it loses so fast. But to check the flatness, yes, I do flatten them every single time, even after 2 strokes on a stone. But you don't have to. Generally speaking, though, I do flatten. Say, for example, if I were to this particular soft, like the Knife 1000 stone, I'll probably do a quick flattening after If I'm doing the bevel job, after 3 probably knives at the most, because bevel job actually takes quite a bit of the like sharpening. If I'm doing just the micro bevel, which is what the most people are sharpening, like the putting the angle up like this, then probably 5 to 6 knives. Depends on how much work you need to do, right? So that's how I flatten, how often I flatten. Make sense? Make sense, maybe?
I think so. We've got another question about flattening here. And it says, do you have any tips on how to keep even pressure on your flattening plate? I'm getting better at it, but one of my first stones started to get a slant because I was pushing harder on one part of the stone facing me than the other.
Slant is not too bad. I mean, the like, look.
You can live with it, right?
This stone here, right? You see how thin this is? It's got a little bit of slant. It's a little bit thicker here and thinner here. But if you can actually use it all the way to this, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I think maybe he's talking about a bigger slant, and is there a technique to help him flatten it? But
one thing that you want to know, well, you want to keep in mind is that ideally, you never want to have the stone like this. Some people do. You always want to have the stone this way, and you never want to tilt your stone more than here. You want to keep, you can tilt it, but never want to leave this corner, this corner. You just want to keep it, and you never want to do it this.
No. Naoto, do you knock the edges off your stone after you flatten them? I always do. I always bevel the edges.
I do bevel the edge because it can cut me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's more likely to chip if it's not beveled.
Yeah. And,
The same guy's asking. He says he maybe thinks one of the Atoma plates with a handle on top might be the answer.
I never liked it. The one with the handle. One, because I sometimes when it gets like very thin like this, I actually have the stone like this. I have the Atoma stone flat on the bottom, and I just do this.
Well, and I've used the Atoma stones to take some big chips out of knives in the past.
Too. So that doesn't give me as the flexibility as much as I would like to. So we would like to. So we don't get the one with the handle. I know it's the one with the handle is available, but I don't.
Yeah, if you want one, we can get you one. I'm sure. Yeah. More questions. Is there any Shigafusa in the garage sale? And I know the answer to that is probably not. And the other answer is if you want a Shigafusa knife, go and put your name on our website that says contact me when this knife is available. Oh, that's on Instagram. They can't hear me. You better tell them.
Shig knives, maybe. I have to say maybe.
Right. But how do you make sure you get a Shigafusa knife when they come in?
So just if you like any the Shigafusa knives, get your leave your email address and put your name on the notify me when it's available. But here's a little bit of trick. No, yeah.
Right. Naoto, here's another question here. To get, or I guess it's a statement, not a question so much, to get a better mirror polish results with only natural stones, you would want to find a Nakayama stone to fit your budget.
Yeah, it gets those the Honyama those stones are great, but it's it gets really expensive. I mean, the harder stones, like if you can actually get the really nice progression, harder stones, and get to the Nakayama and those things are fantastic. But yeah, it's after all, we are sharpening a kitchen knives. It has to get the everyday practical edge to it too. So we do sharpen the way that's a little bit more practical, and we don't practice on sword polishing. It's a little bit different.
I got another question here from Mikhail Fordsman, and I like this question because I'm interested, and you're the man to talk to, especially since we're talking to Kazama-san coming up here soon.
Yeah.
But do you sell woodworking planes?
Oh, we could get them. The one of the probably the best plane maker in that region is Tasai-san. He's fantastic. He makes a lot of chisels and stuff. I watched him actually work the other day because there's actually a little online event of the factory. It's called Koba Fest, or the Factory Festival, online happening right now. They have fantastic YouTube channels, and they do have the live events every day. Anyways, I saw the Tasai-san making the chisels, and it's fantastic. It's the skill level that those plane makers are just fantastic.
Actually, Naoto, you and I watched a video last night together.
Oh yeah,
that hammer maker.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna find the link. I'm gonna drop the link in here into Facebook and Facebook and YouTube. I'm gonna drop the link.
Yeah.
Because that was wild. If you can tell us a bit about that, I'll just go and search for this link.
Well. It's called Koba Fest, Kouba Fest, as a FES. Fantastic content that they've been putting out. The beautiful pictures, beautiful movies about blacksmith knife, not only knife makers, blacksmith, some others just people who's making because that's from the area of Tsubame and Sanjo. That's where the Masashi-san's from, and some of the finest blacksmiths are from. And Iwasaki-san's razor. Oh, razor thing is coming up actually the next Tuesday. But
is it really? Oh, good.
Yeah, the Mizuochi-san is going to be there. But they have been putting out this content, like multiple contents of videos, and they put out the live interviews, like it's all in Japanese, but the video content, the quality is fantastic. And we watched the one yesterday about this hammer maker. It's called Japanese called Genno. Genno is the hammer with the two heads on the both sides. Like regular hammer has the narrow on the other side, or to nail, taking the nail off thing the other side. But the Genno has a two. But how he forges the Genno was crazy.
Oh, but he did so many weird things too.
Yeah.
Like rasping the handle or rasping the blade after the annealing, and I don't know, it's just weird. And the way he quenches was so weird.
Yeah, how he quenches the material, even like he uses old nails.
He uses nails to make a hammer. How cool is that?
Yeah, so it's very cool thing. It's available on the Instagram and the YouTube as well. So you should definitely have a minute to watch it. It's like I have been watching it. I've watched it pretty much everything. Oh, here you go. Oh, here you go. I thought it's so yeah. The any other questions coming up?
I don't know. I just dropped the links.
Oh yeah.
In everywhere.
Oh, awesome.
Where you can find that video, because I was blown away by that video. And you said he sells those hammers for a mere $12,000 each, Canadian.
Yeah.
1
million yen.
$1 million. That's wild.
Yeah.
We've got Don Penny here saying that he went to the Ottawa store and Chris Lord was a delight to work or to deal with today.
Today, he's always delighted.
Oh, but he was there. But I think Don Penny, he was there today, is what I mean. And Chris Lord was delightful.
Yeah.
And someone's asking, do you sharpen scissors and how? Well, that's a bit of a big question right now. But go for it.
We did cover the little bit of scissor sharpening. Depends on type of scissors. One, it needs to be separated like this. Just find an angle. Do it on only one angle. Don't sharpen the back side. If you were to sharpen the fabric shears, I would do it. Bring it up to about 2,000 grit. If you were to do it the hair cutting scissors, it's a little bit different story. I know how. I may not be as comfortable sharpening a fabric shear, the hair cutting scissors, because it just requires a lot more precision and polishing to it.
Anyway, I think we're at the end of our questions now, Joe.
And yeah, thanks for watching. I probably didn't cover as much as I like to, but hopefully you learned something. We do it every week on Friday from 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And there is another show or the live event on the Thursday evenings. It's a basic sharpening class with Francis and Owen from Vancouver. Again, the little bit announcement to end the next week, starting on October 26th, all the sharpening coming into our stores to get it sharpened, all the money, 100% of the money will be donated to the local food bank. It's just a promotion. It's just the to help the local struggling locals, as well as to get your knives sharpened a little bit early in that the holiday season that's upcoming, right? So
right.
if you want to take advantage and feel good about donating the money to the local food bank, and feel good about getting the knife sharpened, do it. Take advantage. We do it for a week. Yeah.
I'm really proud of that we do it for a week. That for the whole week, the money all the money we make from knife sharpening goes straight to the food bank.
Yeah.
And it might be a few $1,000s in Calgary. Like, we do a lot of sharpening. It's crazy.
So yeah. So check that one out. The we're all one one team, and I'll probably be bringing some knives here to sharpen as well, because I'm really busy.
Yeah, I might bring some home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody on Instagram says, thanks for everything you do. It's a bright spot in today's modern pandemic. So that's nice. Thank you. That's really kind. I've really enjoyed doing these. These have been fun. And I learn a ton from Naoto. 9 years ago, I taught Mr. Fujimoto how to sharpen knives. And now 9 years later, he teaches me, and I learn a ton every time I'm here. I'm surprised.
Nerd out, right?
Hey, thank you, Sensei. It's great.
Alrighty. Thanks for everyone for watching and joining me, and we'll see you hopefully next week or sometime. Yeah.
I just got a text from Shibata-san.
Oh yeah.
In Hiroshima area, yep. And I sent him a video today of all the snow, and he said, "How cold?" And I said, "Only -7." He just sent a little gift that said, "Very, very cold."
-7 is isn't that? But it's,
last year I took Shibata-san ice fishing up at Slave Lake last year, and it was -15 at the coldest that day, for those 2 days. He was okay. He lived. He didn't die.
No.
He was scared. All right.
Alrighty. Thanks for watching. Thanks. We'll see you later.
And thanks for educating us, Naoto. That's great. Cheers.
Cheers.